My name is Donald North. I'm going to be serving as the new Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs, okay? And I'm going to get help from Vice Chancellor Gray, Associate Vice Chancellor Gray. She's structured, she's traditional. I'm non-structured, I'm non-traditional. What I'm going to try to do is, I'm going to try to solve your problems, okay, as best I can. Okay, Rebecca? And what that means is, with your help and my effort, we're going to try to make your transition here to law school as easy as possible, okay? So now we're going to ask the president to come up here and give you their welcome. I'm looking for some students that I don't see, and I'm wondering why they're not here. Oh, yeah, just another thing. We ask you to park where? We ask you to park across the street, right? And we ask you to park across the street and in the area across here. Now, if you took it upon yourself to park in the back because you do what you want to do, right, and what we ask you to do, then when they tow your vehicle, because we'll call them right now, then that's going to be a way we get started off on the wrong foot, okay? Mm-hmm. That's right, so, that's it. Okay. All right, back to me. So I ask you to take off your hat. Ask you to take your hat off, man, please, okay? All right, Madam President, it's on you to do your welcome, okay?
Good morning, everybody. Y'all don't sound enthusiastic. Good morning, everybody. All right, congratulations on making it through your first year of law school. You are now 2 Ls. Like I told you on the email, y'all are now on cruise control. Y'all know what is required of you. This orientation today is just to keep you abreast of what is required of you on the professional side, to make sure that you're preparing for the bar. You know exactly what you need to do in order to make sure you graduate next year, so on and so forth. So please be attentive. If you have any questions, please reach out to me or your 2L class president or Professor North or Professor Gray. Anybody in this room that is not a student outside of Alexis, please reach out to us. We are here to help you. And now I'm going to pass it on to your 2L class president.
Hey. Good morning, everyone. I'm glad to see you all back. It doesn't matter how long it took you to get here. How did you get here? All that matters is that you're here today. This journey should be a good one. I'm glad to see all of you all back. And if you have any questions, concerns, comments, ideas, please come and talk to me. Don't hesitate to come to me and let me know, because I'm here for you all. So that's all I have for you all.
Before we go any further, let me do what I'm supposed to do. Let Vice Chancellor Gray go ahead and introduce yourself before that time comes.
Okay.
Sure, we're not doing anything wrong.
Well, I guess the chancellor will be here shortly, because this was his idea to have this orientation. And that was a good idea. I thought it was a good idea, but it was his idea to have the orientation, because we realized there are things that you need going into your second year and third year that, we tell you at the beginning, but it's at a time when it's not relevant. And over time, as it becomes more and more relevant, we talk to individuals who seek out that information. And sometimes you don't even know that you need to ask somebody about that information. Very, very smart students who do very, very well get to the end and they realize, oh, what was that thing about residency again? Because they transferred from part-time to full-time and they realize at the very end that they don't have it. So we wanted to just kind of address some of those issues that you may have. And just in the little time that, we've been in this position, and I've never been on the admissions committee, Vice Chancellor North has been, but as I see the big pool of applicants that we get for law school, and 700-800 applicants, and then we narrow it down and we welcome over 200 into the law center, and then now even more of those students have been weeded out going into this second year, as you all have made it back into this second year of law school. I mean, you become more and more of this small pool of individuals who can do what we're asking you to do and overcome those obstacles to get to this point. So congratulations on that, and I hope that you did something this summer that will help you towards your goal. And I hope that you can get something out of what we're providing here today. I talked to some people, and this is the information that they said that they needed to know. And hopefully later on, when we bring some individuals back for our panel discussion, they will also be able to provide some information and some one-on-one feedback, some more personal feedback for you. So welcome back. I hope you have a great year this year, and I hope that we can just help you reach your goals.
Well, I'll go ahead and get started, and if Chancellor walks in and wants to intervene, he can. So good morning. Excuse me. Good morning. I'm Carrie Landry Thomas. I'm the Director of Career Services and the Title IX Coordinator at the Law Center. And this morning, I want to take some time just to talk to you about moving into your second year of law school and what does it mean as you navigate looking for opportunities and preparing yourself for the third year and then graduation in the workforce, right? And so at any time you can ask questions. This is really just kind of, oh, okay. Thank you. Okay. So really, I'd like to remind you of some of the services that we have in career services, particularly for 2Ls. You know, we have mock interviews, which I think are really important. We have resume workshops, and I think really important is that we're working on social media and branding, the use of LinkedIn. And so coming in, now some people I know from this class, I really know because I am seeing them often. They are coming in, they are utilizing the services, and I might say that they're being very successful. There are a lot of you that I do not know. I don't know what your plan is. I'm going to encourage you to stop by our office, even if it is just to get a brief strategy together. And you want to take it upon yourself to do your own thing, but just sitting down with you and being able to formulate some type of strategy, I think is going to be important, even if it's very brief. So the other thing you need to know is that we have a lot of low-lying fruit. For example, on-campus interviews are going on right now. And again, there are a select number of students who are continuously participating, and they are being very successful in acquiring the types of jobs that they'd like to experience while they're in law school, and maybe even move on to when they graduate. But we don't have a high number of students in this class that I've seen that is participating in on-campus interviewing. Part of that may be your belief or your assumption that on-campus interviews are only for people with certain grades, and albeit a lot of the employers are asking specifically for certain GPAs in certain percentage ranges, they have continuously called about expanding. And generally when people do that, I always make a push out via email. Some people respond, some people don't, but I always push out via email, hey, if you have an interest in this, send me your resume. Because people are starting to branch out in the expectations for GPAs and rankings that they want to consider. They're starting to look at people's skill sets, they're starting to look at people's backgrounds, and people are saying, hey, do you have somebody who's worked in IT before? Or, you know, whatever it may be, construction before? Can you please expand out so we can get more applicants? So paying attention to your emails is going to be very important. Paying attention to simplicity and making sure you are registered and you're on Simplicity. Paying attention to the on-campus interviews when they push out and they're here so that you can understand that there are a broader selection that's occurring right now, and you can be a part of that. But I want to stress that your 2L year is very important. Some of you are not going to have the opportunity to have paid jobs. Some of you may have to take advantage of externships, which are unpaid. Some of you may have to take advantage of unpaid internships. Some of you may have to take advantage of clinical experiences. The key point is taking advantage of those experiences. When you get into those workplaces and it may be unpaid, don't treat it as if it's a side thing. Okay, you need to treat it as if this is your one opportunity to get in there and to showcase your skill sets, to network, to make connections, because that just may be the job that you get when you get out of school based off your work ethic and your work product in that particular job, whether it's paid or not paid. For example, the Louisiana Attorney General's office offers of the fellowship. It's unpaid. And it does require a lot of work, but they are known to hire SULC students after y'all graduate. Like, they will hire you. So you may be doing the work and the networking for free at this point, but that doesn't mean you don't take it seriously, because that is just maybe the job that you get when your law career is over. And frankly, it's moving very fast. Okay, this 2L year is going to fly by. One is because you don't have all the same stressors that you had as a 1L. It's gonna be cake, you're gonna go through your classes, and then next thing you know, it's 3L year. And then you're gonna be sitting in my office about what are you supposed to do when you graduate in the next couple of months. So I'm really stressing to you the importance of this 2L year to make sure that you are networking, that you are getting in those types of job opportunities, whether they're paid or unpaid. Okay, and I'm also stressing that you need to stop by my office so we can sit down and have some strategy session, whatever that may look like, because this is an individual journey. I need to speak to you. I need to see what your skill sets are. I need to see what your interests are so that we can work with you on a strategy as you navigate your second and third year, okay? Please do not think that you can just go to school and not have some type of legal experience and think that's gonna be easy for you to get a job. So take advantage of the clinical experiences. Join a clinic, and you're gonna be working and networking with other attorneys in the field. And that gives you plenty of opportunities to build and make those relationships and those connections that are gonna be so valuable when you get to your third year and you're graduating and you're ready to step out into the workforce for real. Okay, so do I have any questions from anybody while I'm up here? So I hope to see each and every one of you. Yes.
I know a lot of the students are concerned about if they're not at the top of the class. Does your office help them? Because I think there's an idea that your office is only for the top 10%.
No,
Could you talk to them about
I have stated since I've been here since January that my office is available to all students. And I've talked about, OCI does come across that some of the employers in OCI, and some of them do, require certain GPAs and certain percentage ranges. But not all of them do. And those are not the only jobs available. Those are not the only opportunities available. My team wants to meet with you, because Ms. Gilbert is also part of the team. We want to meet with you guys individually. We want to sit down and have a strategy session about where you are and what do you need to get to where you want to be. And that's what my office is there for, to help you, to meet you where you are, to try to help you strategize to get to where you want to be. And that is for anybody who's at the law school. And I'm really stressing that I think each and every one of you need to stop into my office. So we can set up some type of plan. Maybe you're getting interviews, but you're not getting the jobs. Well, then that way we can work on mock interview session and have you meet with people who are already in the field, attorneys who can work with you and give you feedback on what is the disconnect between your interviewing skills and what you're projecting. Maybe it's your resume. You're not getting any hits from your resume, and we need to sit down and evaluate what your resume looks like. So it's gonna be different things for different people, but I need to meet with you, my team needs to meet with you individually so we can figure that out. Maybe your GPA is not the highest. Well, what does that look like? Where can we work and strategize to get you in positions that'll help you be employable? And that's what the office is there for, and I'm encouraging each and every one of you to take advantage of that. Okay.
how do they set up an interview? Do you have a particular time and place right now? I mean, not today, but I mean, the process for setting up.
No, the process right now is to come into our office. Now, we're good. Ms. Gilbert and I are going to set up on the Simplicity site. So I've already said that everybody needs to be signed up to Simplicity. I think I've sent emails out. Hey, guys, Simplicity has jobs on there that I don't even have privy to, because what happens is some of the employers will sign up for it and then they post their own jobs on there. So sometimes I'll send you guys out emails because I know of particular jobs, but we have employers who are directly on our platform that they're posting their own jobs. So I've encouraged each and every one of you to sign up for Simplicity. Now, at this time, we don't have our schedules up as far as counseling, but you could always, the office does take drop-in. We take walk-ins right now. And so in the next couple of weeks, we will have schedules up there for the times that you can come in to see us. But as of right now, walk-ins are accepted because we are trying to figure out schedules and how we're navigating. So walk-ins are, and some people, like I said, I've met some people several times. They've emailed, they've come in, they've utilized the services, and they are doing well. So, we are open to everyone. We want you to take advantage of it. But it is a relationship, okay? I just want everybody to know that when I say, I'm using the term strategize on purpose, because I don't want you to plop in my seat with no workable resume, no anything, and then say, can I have a job? No, we're gonna work together. We're gonna strategize, and I'm gonna meet you where you are and try to work together to strategize to get you where you want to be, okay? So, any other questions? So with that being said, when you do come and talk to me, or Ms. Gilbert, I'd like for you to at least have a working resume, meaning you've at least packaged up your experiences and we have something to work with, because it's more effective if we can start from that point rather than you just not having anything to work with, okay? Yes.
I know last year we were only allowed to have a one-page resume. Now that we've had opportunities over the summer, is there a limit to how long our resume can be if we had multiple internships over the summer?
No, so the one-page resume verbiage that's even going to be altered, because I've already gotten data and feedback from employers, and that's going to be something internally that we talk about, which is looking at the data from the employers and what they want to see from your resumes. And the ongoing theme is they want to see what your skill sets are and what you contribute, right? From your resume. That is their first entry point to you. So they want to see your experience, your skill sets, and what makes you unique, right? On the other side of that, on the other hand, you don't need to put stuff from high school if it's not relevant to who you are as what you can contribute now as a law student going for this particular job. So, but if you were in college and there was an organization that you participated in, or you planned, you started your own, I don't know, LLC or whatever the particular thing is, put that on the resume. So you want to have, it's not a one-page thing. They want to see, and I think this is accurate, want to see all of the skill sets that are applicable to the job that you want to do, but also that talks about what makes you unique. What is your story? What have you done? And this is straight from employers' mouths. So, I have that data, and this is straight from them. This is what they want to see. They don't want to see sterile one-page resumes where they all look alike. Now, with that being said, that does not mean you need to be putting pink stars in the corner and try to make it stand. That's not what they mean by standing out. They mean your skill sets. They mean delineating what you can bring to the table as an individual. That's what they mean by setting the resume apart. All right? And again, these are things that we can work with one-on-one, but this is just general information that employers have, the feedback that we've gotten from employers about what they'd like to see. So, no one-page resume. Add what you got. Any other questions? Any other questions?
I just want to quickly reiterate something that she said about volunteering and unpaid jobs. My first job when I was in law school during my second year was also, I didn't get paid working at the city prosecutor's office, and I got an offer to work at another job. They wanted to pay me, but I knew that that's what I wanted to do. So I went there and worked 3 months free, and then of course they offered me a job. So that is something that sometimes you might have to do, work free during the day and then go and work somewhere, for some money later on, because I did work at Dillard's at night. But that you have to think about the possibility that you might have to do that in order to get some experience. And that was the reason why I got the job that I got when I went to DC at the National DA's Association, because they wanted someone who could work on those traffic issues that I had already done at the city prosecutor's office, looking at those DWIs and determining probable cause and all that sort of thing. So that is something you have to think about. But also, she told you that you can come by the office, and I hope you got the fact that you should have a working resume. But I'm going to add to that and say, come with a plan, at least an idea about a plan. We know that plans change, because when it comes time to go to the job, many of us are going to just take whatever job that's offered right out of law school. But you need to at least have a plan, because you can start structuring that right now. So for instance, my research assistant, who is going to be, she's going to be third year this year, she has in her mind that she really would like to be in-house counsel, preferably for a luxury brand. She has already started, she's gotten, I think she did 2 interviews for MBA programs for after law school, and they were just crazy about her at William & Mary. I mean, they wanted to quote her on some of the answers that she gave during her interview. And so she did a couple of those. She's applied to at least 3 for after law school. And this semester, she's doing an independent study with me, and her focus is going to be in the field of fashion law. So she's been doing all this research, thinking about this fashion law and everything. But whether it's the job, the classes that you take, and all of those things, you can start to try to structure yourself with the necessary background, experiences, and skills that Ms. Thomas is telling you about that will help push you into that area that you want to be in. So that's the reason why we're talking about this now, because we don't want you waiting until after the bar exam to say, I now wonder what I'm going to do for a job. You should start thinking about that now. And we really want to make sure that you understand that everybody in here is going to have a job at some point after you finish school. But now you got to start thinking now about, what job do I want and how am I going to get there? And their office will help you to get there, but you have to at least talk to them. I know you all think that they only want to talk to the top of the class, but everybody needs to make it by there at some point to at least see what they have to offer you. They have something that they can offer you.
I mean, I want to reiterate, for example, the chancellor has worked diligently with connecting with a lot of institutions and corporations on the West Coast. We had, I want to say 5 students who were not necessarily the top students. I mean, they weren't, bad students, but they weren't the top 10% students. But they were selected because of their backgrounds, of the interests that they had in their backgrounds, and they were able to participate in those types of internships for the summer on the West Coast and made a great impact. We received numerous emails about how those students were amazing. And so they're going to continue that pipeline. So you have opportunities out there that are open to a variety of students from a variety of different backgrounds. So one, I want to encourage you to let those backgrounds show, right? Don't try to tailor yourself to what you think a legal resume is supposed to be or a lawyer is supposed to be. Make sure that you're bringing your individual skill sets from your background to the front in your resumes. And also make sure that you're taking advantage of, I send out emails all the time. The chancellor does as well. I know it can be a little bit much, but taking time to go through those emails, even if it's briefly, you will find that there are plenty of opportunities available for a wide range of students with a wide range of experience. So I would encourage you to, as you navigate this second year, is going to look different from your first year. Take the time to concentrate on building those skill sets, making those connections, networking, taking clinical experiences, doing externships. Those things are all going to be important, okay? Right.
Okay, so what we want to talk about now is externships, okay? So we started last spring by identifying for you a group of our students that have already graduated, okay? And they're in different locations, and that now you have to take a more active role in planning where you intend to end up in 3 years from now. If you've already participated in an externship, raise your hand. You see, that's sad, ain't it? And we told you how important that was. Nobody's gonna help you. You have to do this yourself. You have to, if you think that you can sit around here until you graduate and somebody's gonna just take you and stick you in an $80,000, $90,000 a year job, that's not gonna happen. So some of you, it will happen. I don't have no policy. I don't have anybody waiting for me to help me. You have to take an active role. Make sure you use that summer between your first year and your second year is very critical. You have to be doing something that will benefit you. We're just not in a position where we can sit around and do nothing. Hey, she said she worked at Dillard. I was a bartender from 10 o'clock at night until 4 o'clock in the morning. But I worked at the law firm, at the public defender's office for free. I know criminal law because I started doing it the day I got arrested. I tell you this all the time. We're not in a position. I don't have to study criminal law in no textbook. I have lived it all of my life. If you want to be a corporate lawyer, I hear people say that all the time. What are you win? Don't come in and tell me to be no corporate lawyer. What corporation are you going to work for now? We have to do this right now. Tell them where you were. What did you do this summer? Tell them what you did. Tell them what you did.
I worked at the 3rd Judicial District Court. That's in North Louisiana. I worked for the Indigent Defense Board. That's the Public Defender's Office. My work duties included the appointment of counsel appointments. That's inmate interviews once a week, felony court every Tuesday, misdemeanor court every Wednesday.
The reason we talk about criminal court, now Eric Citizen was in California this summer, and those emails were coming in every week about how great he was doing. Jonathan is in DC. Now we know we have great students in this law school who can do the same thing, but you have to get out there and do something. Now, if you miss it this summer, right, Winnie? If you miss it this summer, then what we're telling you to do now, you take a day out of your schedule from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock or from whatever you need to do and get you some experience so you can speak to that experience. And we have to build relationships with people. We have to build relationships. Right, Cole? Cole has someone who's helping him. But Cole, if you didn't have anybody helping you, what were you going to do? You got to have a plan B. I saw the chancellor coming in the door. Externships. Don't forget the word. We start off. You got to have. She's right. You have to have a plan. You have to have a profile about where you intend to go and what you intend to be doing. The only problem with telling law students stuff is they already know everything. They don't want you to tell them anything. I understand. But everybody can take advice. Everybody can take advice. Sorry, my daddy wasn't no justice of the peace, and my mom didn't know the Supreme Court justice or the judge. So I had to work. The boss is in the house, and I'm going to sit down. Chancellor, we are ready. Not your boss, my boss. Chancellor, your welcome is now on the schedule. You can do your welcome now.
Oh, okay. All right. Good morning. How's everybody feeling?
You want the mic?
Yeah, I don't need a mic. Let me hear him now.
Before you take the questions, I just want to say one thing. If I were you, I would start coordinating, maybe with your original sections when you were in law school, with trying to put together a spreadsheet of my skills and my background so that he would have it on his desk when it's time to go. I mean, I've seen him put people together. They were nurses, nursing backgrounds. I mean, finding opportunities for those people, just all types of area, HR, whatever it may be. You want to get that? If I were you, I would get with my section 3 or whatever section it was, make a spreadsheet. This is my name, these are my skills, and just have a whole thing there. Maybe our 2L president can spearhead that process, and then just attach those resumes on the back so he can see the main area and just have the rest of the resume back there. Because I will want my name out there when it's time to start looking for those opportunities. But do we have questions? Somebody need the mic?
Okay, so remember, M. Johnson at SULC.edu.
Okay, we have Ms. Johnson here to help us, but you have to ask your questions now. Don't go back, to the office and send an email. Go ahead now and ask the chancellor. Let's go. First of all, Chancellor, speak to this issue about the e-books.
All right, e-books. If you have an e-book fee on your fee bill, it's a mistake. And the only reason you have it is what Banner does is if you don't have 30 hours, Banner considers you to be a 1L. Okay? Some of you don't have 30 hours yet. So Banner has you as a 1L. And a couple people bought it and we bought it and we said, hey, eliminate. So if you got a e-book fee on your fee bill, all right, and you've been through at least 1 year of law school, all right, that's a mistake. That's easily fixed. You can take that off your fee bill. That's $750 that goes into your pocket. But now let's talk about this, because you need to understand this is something that's going. So we got this opportunity to do electronic books, but you remember last year how you were scrambling to figure out which thing you were going to use to buy what book? All right? What else don't have that problem? They got their books. So call the e-book, and they can print it at any time. They ain't nobody going to be hanging out at the library trying to wait for when the library closed to get the book. Ain't nobody going to be stowing the book away and all that good stuff, trying to make extra copies on the side, going to the office, stealing your employer's copy time off the machine and making extra copies for everybody else. Ain't none of that for the 1L. The 1L's got their book. They already got it. All right? It's called e-books. All right? They paid a fee for that privilege. $750 for a whole year. You know what the average it costs to buy books for the year? How much? 2,000. 2,000. You're right. And if it's used books, it's about $1,250.
Chancellor, the other issue was, if you'll speak for a moment about overload, request for overload, and request for.
Overload. Most of them will be denied. All right, I'm gonna just tell you, override. Most of them will be denied. And you say, well, why? Why? Because again, it's because you need to get the best grade. See, listen to me. I'm projecting you to the world for some opportunities where you're gonna get paid real money. Now, Mr. Valdry got paid $35 an hour, right? Well, Mr. Valdry was the least well-paid intern in the Silicon Valley. There were Silicon Valley opportunities at 40 plus an hour. In fact, two of your classmates, well, one of your classmates in the evening division, she is actually working for Cummins right now in Indianapolis, and she's gonna be there till December. She started in June, and she's gonna be there till December. Okay, the other one is Cisco. She's gonna be there till December, but she's a little further ahead. Notice I said she will be there till December. So start taking $40 an hour, start doing your math, all right? And she's gonna get those checks through Christmas, all right? Because if I can get you to make more money for your talent, okay, you won't need to borrow as much money if you save it. Now, I know you gotta take care of your mama and them and your sister and them and your friend. I know, I hear you, I understand. There's a lot of pressure on you. A lot of pressure. You got families, you got rent to pay, you got all that stuff. But you can pay it if you get paid real money. Right? And certainly we love you and we'll let you have as many research assistant opportunities as the financial aid regulation allows us, but the only problem is we only pay $8.50 an hour. And I know, I say $8.50 is better than nothing, but I like to get you more. Okay? But you gotta have
have a specific question about the National MBA Conference. Are you sending people there?
You talking about when you said the National MBA
Yes.
in Houston?
Yes.
Oh, I got a van ready to hook up.
Well, I didn't hear anything back, so.
I know, but we,
Oh, okay.
we just get, I had to make sure people were coming back. See, sometimes I get
What?
these little surprises like, oh, Chance, I'm transferring to another school.
Right.
Well, okay, that's fine. And I love it. I do. But now that you're back, now we know you're back, for real.
Yes, sir.
All right, that you're back. We're gonna organize that trip. Since it's in Houston, we're gonna get that rental and we're gonna go to Houston. So if you wanna go to that.
I do.
And,
Yes,
and
sir.
make sure now, you make sure you got enough absences. I don't wanna hear nothing at the end of the semester that, well, I didn't make my requirements for attendance to class now. All right? Hey, we're cool.
Okay.
All right?
Are there any more questions? See, this way we'll avoid all the, you don't have my chance to write them, okay? So all these emails you just send when you come back here, we're gonna try to work them a different way. See, you have any questions? And we know needs to be elevated to the chancellor. Let's get them out there now. Any more questions?
Well, let me ask you a question. How many of y'all worked somewhere this summer? Good. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Because again,
Why you raise your hand?
it's not because it's important. Because I'm telling you, I'm getting calls from people and they want to talk to folks that have worked somewhere that got skills. That's extremely important.
Am I forgetting anything?
That's extremely important. That's very, very important. If you do that, we're gonna have a great year. And we're gonna have a great year because number one, you're committed to doing what you need to do. Okay? Okay, that's the most important thing. You're committed to doing what you need to do, and we're committed to doing what we need to do. Vice Chancellor North has already issued a
Customer service. Yes, sir. You better believe it.
Say it again.
Customer service.
Customer service. Customer service. That's what it's about. Customer service. That's exactly what it's about. All right?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So with some of the changes that happened over the summer in administration and faculty, my question is kind of what is now the chain of command?
Oh, what's the chain of command?
If we have a student
All right,
issue
well,
or.
you got a student, what might be construed as a student affairs issue, you go to North. All right?
Don't y'all feel like the coach is giving you the pep talk to go outside and win this game now? Let's give him a hand.
I really don't like the mic, but let me say this, because, you know, we get very, very restless. You know, we don't like to sit still for a long time, and we get very, very restless, and we start sneaking out the door. That character and fitness that's on that schedule. So first of all, there we go. We got a question over there. Let's just do that. That character and fitness on that schedule, you know what we have to do. So you go sneaking out here if you want to here. We're gonna sneak your name right off that list.
I just wanted to ask, I'm not sure if I should know this or not by now, but as far as the clinics, is there like a specific place we could go to find out which ones are offered and which ones that we may want to participate in?
Well, first of all, the schedule has, you can have every clinic that's offered, it's on the schedule. That's the first thing. Now, the question is, I guess the bigger question is, which clinic should I be into?
Correct.
We have so many good clinics, I can't tell you. You gotta figure out something that you might like, or you might try something different that you haven't tried before. Now, only because we're here, we're
So for the bar prep, is it just fall, or will it be fall and spring if we can't get the overload?
it'll be offered every spring, summer, winter, spring, summer, and fall.
Okay.
That's it. We're gonna offer it over and over again. And for the first year class that's coming in, it's gonna be a required course. So right now we let you do it as an elective, but here's the point. But we need you to embrace this stuff, okay? Because again, you cannot run or you can't hide from that inevitability, okay? You can't run, you can't hide, period. And there are people that are spending a lot more money than you that ran
Wait a minute. Wait. That is where we have some speakers who are about to talk to us about bar prep. So some of the questions you all ask, we have the speakers here. So I would like to call Professor Shea forward and Professor Reed. Professor Shea, she's talking about out-of-state bar. This is next on the agenda. Professor Reed, you can come on up as well, and you all can talk to us. That is exactly what we have next, which is to talk about the bar exam early bird planning and preparation. We also have someone who's going to talk to you all very briefly about the bar review courses and what you need to do now as a second-year student. Because as you all know, you can get major discounts if you buy your bar review course or put your deposit down on it, or what have you, second year. I know somebody even said at one point they were offering it for $1. So Kennedy Lejeune is going to be here a little bit later to hit on that. But we have two speakers to talk to you all about what you need to do now to put you in the best position to be ready for the bar exam. A little bit later, Vice Chancellor North will talk about character and fitness only briefly, because on September 6th, the Louisiana State Bar Association is coming here. They do a mandatory meeting for all 2L students. And so that meeting takes place on September 6th. So we'll send notice out for you then. That is a required Q&A on character and fitness. So we just wanted to touch on it. I think that's why we said the basics, because you're going to get it from LSBA. But right now, I want to turn it over to Professor Reed and Professor Shea to talk about bar exam prep for now, out of state and in state.
Good morning. Okay, I'm going to talk about the Louisiana State Bar process, and Shea will take over the out-of-state bars. The first thing you've heard the Chancellor say this morning, you need to follow the process that we have in place. And it is a very good process. And we always say, embrace the process. That's the main thing. Embrace the process that we have in place. And we have some speakers here later, and they can tell you, these are some persons that just took the bar exam. That's Miss Antoine. She's here, Miss Whitney. And she can tell you exactly what she did. And it just didn't start after graduating from law school. It did not start. She started after her first year. Why? I can tell you because I saw her outlines. I saw her bar notebooks. Although some students do not like to do bar notebooks, but trust me, it does help. I always tell students, the information that you have prepared yourself is what you know. The outlines that you have prepared yourself. You know, you can pass it on to a friend. However, they don't know your buzzwords. They don't know what you've left out in that outline because you already know the material. That's the first thing. Start studying early for the bar. Implement a reoccurring issue outline, although I know Ms. Nicole has a listing for you, and we're also working on one to enhance it and to add additional issues that have appeared on the 2018 bar exam. Another thing that you can begin working on, perfecting your writing skills. How would you do that? The more exams you do, which means your bar exams, the better you become. That is one of the biggest things, because that is the only thing that is going to identify you come your bar. Nothing but writing. It's not about who you are. They have no idea. It's what you type or write out on that examination. Now, how do you go about doing that? One, first you need to identify which particular state you're going to take the bar exam. We have so many students say, I'm going to take the Louisiana State Bar. Then 2 to 3 weeks prior till, I want to take Georgia bar. And you've not even prepared, haven't done anything. But yet you want to jump in and take that particular bar exam. So be mindful, start thinking. If you want to travel back to your home state, not a problem. A lot of times students have questions, well, I'm here in a civil law state, can I take an out-of-state bar? The answer is yes, you can. Can you pass? Yes, you can. Because if you learn the material the first time, it's not going to be hard for you to transition and use their terminology. But you have to first put in all of the time, okay? Now, how do you build your platform? Right now, you are 2L students. You're entering your second year, so you've already had your first year's courses. And I don't know if how many of you realize how many courses you have actually taken thus far that has prepared you for the bar exam. And I'm going to tell you exactly what some of those courses are. Right now, you've had 8.5 courses. You've had property, family law, and mat regime, depending on if your professor covered that. That's code 1. That is the very first bar exam on that Monday that you take. The bar exam is a 3-day process. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. 8 beautiful hours. And you have to be prepared. So now that you've already taken code 1, what you should be doing in all of your free time that you have, do some old bar exams. That's the best thing. That's going to let you know. What do you remember that's your reoccurring issues? Let me see. Ready recall. And they're not looking for you to have, or we're not looking for you to have an A paper. No, it's not based on writing a exam for your law professor. No, you are now writing as lawyers. So, and a lot of students tend to say, I'm running out of time. If you start early, you're going to finish within the time delay of each one of those bar exams, okay? The second courses that you have taken so far is torts 1 and 2. Again, that's the day 2 bar exam for torts 1 and 2. You should be able to go and pull up a bar exam and do what? Be able to answer the questions or at least spot the issues for right now. And then another time, then you try writing out your responses. The other courses that you've already had, contracts, obligations, those particular subject matters fall under code 3. So that's some of code 3, not all of it. Then you've also had criminal law, correct? You're ready to take criminal law bar exams. And you've also had basic civil procedure. And this is my point 5, because this is your introduction to federal jurisdiction. And a lot of students do well in basic federal jurisdiction. So when they get to this particular course, their third year, all it is a repeat. That's all it is. If you are learning it the first time, okay? Then the other subject matters coming into your second year, it's 5 more courses, plus I consider 1 more. You have con law 1 and 2, am I correct? You also have evidence. And you have Louisiana Civil Procedure 1 and 2. And you have professional responsibility. That's your MPRE. Now, a lot of students wait till the very end to take MPRE, and you will pass the bar, but yet you're still trying to get through your MPRE. Now, back in my day, and I don't know if it's still the same, when we took the course, we were able to take the exam. It followed thereafter. That's the best time. Don't wait. When you take the course, take the exam that comes right behind it, because the information is still what? Fresh, okay? So that's 5 courses plus your MPRE. Now you add all of that up. By the time you finish your second year, you are almost 75% waiting on that bar exam. Now, I said civil procedure 1 and 2. Civil procedure 1, that's 85% of your bar exam. So y'all about to take that course right now. Take it serious. That's how you get in and out of the court, knowing the process, knowing where you are. It is a lot of material. Yes, it is. And they do test everything in Civil Procedure 1, okay? Other questions, I put down like 6 points that the students should remember. One of the questions always is, how early should I begin my bar prep? That's always the question, because you're gonna have some students say, oh, you should wait, that's just too soon. Well, the important question is, how exactly do you go about early bar preparation? And it is never, never too early to begin your bar prep. Things that you should do are things that you should already have. Make spreadsheets and set deadlines for your bar preparation. That's one of the biggest things. Setting deadlines, making sure you stick to those deadlines. And even if you don't stick to them, you can always, always reschedule. But try to stay on point. That's your first thing. Your second thing, you should focus on all of the most heavily tested bar questions. The only way that you're going to know that is by doing what? Doing old bar questions. That's the only way. Now, do you have to sit down and do a whole 2-hour bar exam on Code 1? No. You could just do a property question. You could just do a family law question, or it could be just a mat regime portion. But you need to review the information. And the more preparation, the better you become, the easier it is for you to write that exam come exam day. The third thing, thoroughly prepare your reoccurring outlines. 4, save time for self-testing. Why do I say save time? A lot of students wait till the end and say, I still have time, I got a month to go. Because you have June, well, you have some of May, June, and July. And I don't count all of July. But a lot of students start testing late, even though we will have a bar prep. But we always say, do more exams on your own time. Because the more you do, again, the better you become. So you definitely need to self-test yourself. And I'm not just saying spotting the issues, because we know you can spot the issues, but can you write the law and do the application of the law? That's one of the biggest things. You don't want to give away points when you know all the facts that you should be placing and all of the elements based on if it's a criminal crime. You already know all the information, but a lot of students do write fast or forget. And Ms. Whitney might tell you what she did on the exam herself. And it happens to all of us. But you need to do everything that's required of you. As each week approaches, say that 2.5 months that you have, give yourself definite, measurable objectives and deadlines on where you should be and how much time. Another thing you need to know also, the chancellor touched on it earlier, you know what particular courses you had problems in. You already know. Now, that particular course is in your basket. So what should you be doing? You should be studying in that course right now. You don't wait until your 3rd year and say, oh my God, I did not learn property like I should have. What am I going to do? Now, there's about 26 different courses. That's a lot of material. And back in my day, we had to know everything, because you never know, it could be one simple question out of one subject matter that appeared on the bar exam. But guess what? We still had to know everything. So you guys have to be the same. You have to be proactive. You know your shortcomings. If you need help, all you have to do is ask someone. We are here for you. Also, commit to sticking to your schedule. Oftentimes we see students, y'all love Facebook. We see you on Facebook, and guess what? Your fellow classmates are gonna tell on you. We know when you have to go to weddings. My best girlfriend is getting married, and students will say, well, I have to go. I have an event, my dad's, what did they say last summer? My dad's birthday party. You have an event at church that you must attend. Your girlfriend is gonna be mad, or your best guy, you're the best man. And I'm like, you know what? This bar comes one time during the summer months. You've put in all of the work, but yet you played along the way. The only person that you're going to have to blame at the end, you can't blame your professors, because we know you like to do that. You can't blame us. The buck stops with you and what you put on that examination, not what we put on there. It's what you do. And you have to give an accounting. That's the first thing I tell all of my students. Give an accounting of yourself. You know exactly what you did while you were a student here. You know exactly, if you know you received, let's say, a B+ out of a particular class, and when you ended that final exam, you said, oh my God, I bummed it. And when you receive your grade, you say, oh, thank you, Lordy. You're so happy because I passed the course. But did you really pass that course? How big was that curve? Those are the questions you have to ask yourself. You know I'm telling the truth. So that's a course that's what? In your basket. Because guess what? The bar exam is not going to give you no curve. None. They give no curves. So you have to be ready. So remember, any practice is better than no practice at all. Now, another thing, I want to go over a couple other things. Taking the bar exam, start practicing now. Why is practice so important? Practice will involve writing out your answers to essay questions and completing a heap of MBE question sets. And Professor Shea will speak on that. And even taking half or full day mock exams. Taking exams under time restraint. That is a must. A lot of our students run out of time. Why? Because you're still thinking, I have 4 hours to complete this examination. And you do not. You have 2 hours, in which in law school, you may take 4 hours for a family law. Sometimes some professors give you 6 hours. You don't have that luxury. You have 2 hours. Get in and get out. And I will say also regarding Louisiana State Bar exams, every bar portion is written differently. Every bar portion is written differently. Code 1 is different. You don't write, you write more, you have more of application in code 1. Code 2, that's my sushi, that's successions. You get in, you get out. They're going to ask you to call other questions. Civil procedure, which is what you guys will be taking now and next semester. Getting in and out of the court. They're going to ask you a set question. You need to let them know. Answer the call of the question. You're going to learn a whole lot of time delays. Why do you need to know your time delays in civil procedure? Because if you don't file timely, you're going to have a bar complaint against you. And your client is going to be on your back. So you have to know how to write each exam. Each exam is written differently, okay? And the more practice you have, it's going to help you identify what you know and what you don't know, okay? So that's the main thing. Practice those exams in order for you to be able to define your knowledge base. That's one of the basic things. What is your knowledge base? Again, you need to ask yourself that question. You're the only one that can answer that. And this is always a problem for some students. Students are going to say, I can't complete the question. You're going to feel, some students are a lot hurt, and they're going to come crying, I just don't know what to do. And generally what I would tell students, you just keep hitting it. And I'll sit down and go work with you on how to write Louisiana State Bar exams. Some students can speak very well. They can give you the whole answer, but when it's time to write it down, they are not answering the call of the question. But you can tell me everything in words. You can speak fluently, but you're unable to write it down. So these are some of the things that we work with students on. So please use us up, okay? And how do you practice for the bar exam? Set aside time to review those old exams and model answers. Now, let me talk about the model answers. When you look at bar answers, there is going to be a elongated amount of information. That's not the same thing you would write on the exam itself. The bar examples are teaching tools. I will say it again, they are teaching tools. So many students come and say, I need to write all of this. No, you do not. That's only because you're not paying attention to the call of the question. Again, I'm going to say schedule and practice. My time is very limited, and I'm going to pass the mic to Professor Shea.
All right, how many of you are going to take an out-of-state bar? All right, so quite a few of you. And you will hopefully be happy to know that our out-of-state bar program has been growing by leaps and bounds, which is to say 2 years ago we didn't have a program, and now we have a series of classes and other things for you. All right, so I'm going to talk about 3 quick things, and if you have questions, you can talk to me afterwards. First, we have a new pilot program this semester. Second, we have course offerings for common law bar prep. And third, we have other outside early bird classes that's open to everyone. So the first thing for those of you who are going out of state, put this in the back of your mind, but use it for your planning of your classes next semester. Once you have 60 hours of classes, you have the option to opt out of the Louisiana required 3L courses and into common law 3L courses. So we're doing it for 3 courses. You do not, again, you have to have 60 hours. If you take any of these common law courses before 60 hours, they don't count towards your requirement, and you still have to take the Louisiana class. But you can swap out common law trusts and estates for successions. You can swap out Article 9 for security devices, and you can swap out Article 2 for sales and leases. So it's a pilot program we're starting this year. The 3Ls will be the first group that gets to do this, and then you guys, as you're planning your classes next year will be able to do that, which means your third year classes should all be common law focused. The second thing is we have 2 common law bar options. We have an iLaw online course, which is called Extended Bar Prep. And that class is taught by the same Barbary folks who teach your summary Barbary courses. It's a 3-credit class. It's an online class. You have to keep up with the work. You have to do the work in order to pass the class. But that is available to all of you. That class is on the schedule fall, spring, and summer. We also have a class which we've renamed this year. Now it's called the UBE Bar, I don't know what it's called. It's something like the UBE Bar Prep class. I teach that in the fall and the spring, and we focus on the 3 parts of the UBE, the MBE, which is a multiple choice portion of the exam. Anyone who's taking an out-of-state exam will have 1 day of multiple choice questions. It's the MPT exam, which is the performance exam. 34 jurisdictions use the performance exam, and then the MEE is the essay portion of the exam. Most states are moving to the uniform bar. There's still a handful of states that have state-specific essay exams. We don't do the state-specific, we do the more broad common law, but you can still benefit from the broad common law because then you just have to learn your state-specific pieces. In addition, we have programming in both the fall and the spring semester. The fall semester will have at least 5 workshops. 2 of the workshops are going to be MPRE in the weeks leading up to the November 10th, I think it's November 10th, MPRE. We'll also do an introduction to the MBE, an introduction to the MPT, and an introduction to the MEE. So for those of you who are going out of state and want to see what those exams look like, come to one of our Friday sessions so you can do that. I'm also hoping to schedule just 2 practice exams for people who just want to sit down and practice at this point to see where you're at, to see what types of questions that we have. In the spring semester, we get more nuanced. We have subject-specific courses, and then this past year, we had Texas-specific and Georgia-specific and Mississippi-specific bar prep. But I will say, did a lot of prep for these, and it was really sad to have 1 or 2 people show up to most of these sessions. So we have a whole lot of opportunities that people do not take advantage of. And so we have definitely moved in the right direction with common law bar prep. We had a study session this summer with the folks who were taking the bar, and it didn't matter where you were studying. We did it via Zoom. So we had folks in Maryland and Nevada, and I was in Minnesota, and we would all get in on Zoom, and we'd be able to work through problems and have practice exams over the summer. So we have a lot of things in store for you. I hope that there's a common law bar person on the SBA bar prep committee. There was not last year, but if there is this year, you'll get more information about our common law bar prep stuff. But if you have any questions, please let me know.
So, quick question just before you get off the stage. How would someone who's wanting to take the UBE go about preparing their 2L year to like register and or just get information?
That's a really good question. First, just figure out what state you're going to and look at what their requirements are. All of the states that are UBE jurisdictions usually have some separate requirement. And so you want to figure out what that separate requirement is. So like the state of New York has a pro bono requirement, and they also have a New York specific exam requirement that you can take on your own time before you do that. But the National Conference of Bar Examiners, their website, if you go to their website, National Conference of Bar Examiners, they have a map of the United States. If you click on the state that you are going to take your bar in, it will take you to all of the requirements to take the bar in that particular state. So that's your starting point. And also from the National Conference Bar Examiners website, you can download at this point the MBE, which is a multiple choice subject matter outline. They have that up there for you. The MPT skills-based outline, and the MEE subject matter outline. So I would say that's your starting point. Most of your 1L classes, with the exception of property, are going to be applicable to the common law bar exam, so you want to do everything that Vice Chancellor Reed said.
The only thing I want to add to that is that I'm going to work with Professor Shea to create some sort of link with all of those resources on it so that I don't know if you haven't, do you have, okay. So try to go to that so you can know. Okay, just so that you'll know, especially about that, this new pilot program to take some different courses, because we've never allowed that. You know, we've made everybody take these same Louisiana courses. So you definitely want to take advantage of that opportunity. Was there a question we had for one of our panelists?
So I want to take the Louisiana bar and the Florida bar. How would I go about doing that? Should I prepare all at the same time while I'm in law school, or focus on one over the other? Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Well, we have some people here who just took the bar exam in 18 and 19. And we also have a representative who's going to talk to you a little bit about taking advantage of those deals that you can get after your second year. So do we want to take our panel first? You want to go ahead and take the panel first? Okay. Yep, we got 30 minutes. We're supposed to do it at 12:30. We're supposed to be at 12:30. Okay. So let me go ahead and call our panelists up. We have Ms. Whitney Antoine. Ms. Antoine graduated from law school in 2018. You finished in 19? Oh, okay, wow, okay. So she just took the bar exam this summer. We have Jasmine Green, who just took the bar exam this summer. You all can go right up front, just line up across the front, so you all can talk to them about what I know now. You can have a seat in any of these seats. What I know now that I wish I had known at the beginning of 2L year. The chancellor wanted to have someone on the panel who is a 3L who can also say what he knows now that he wish he had known at the beginning of 2L year. And is Brooke Roach here? Brooke? She might have gone to the law school. Okay, she'll be here, I know, but she'll be able to join in just a minute. And then we're going to take some questions, but I also want to get Kennedy up to also talk to you all a little bit about, do we have some? You have an extra chair. Oh, okay. And also, Miss Stevens, Stephanie Stevens. This is who's supposed to be on this panel. Brooke is next panel. Stephanie Stevens, this is our 2018 graduate who can talk to us. We'll get you a chair in just a moment. We can start with you.
And so we're just talking about just things.
Well, first of all, the first thing is what I know now that I wish I'd known at the beginning of 2L year, and then.
Okay. Like Vice Chancellor Gray said, my name is Stephanie Stevens. I graduated in May of 2018. I'm currently a licensed attorney, and I clerk for the Second Circuit Court of Appeal in Shreveport. And so one thing I definitely wish I would have known at the beginning of 2L year is the work does not stop. I know that there are people that will say, oh, once you get through your 1L year, like, okay, you're done. No, especially if you're taking the Louisiana bar, there are a lot of classes that you're gonna take your 2 and 3L year that you need to take seriously. Do the work now so you don't have to worry about it later. The bar exam is a beast and you only have 10 weeks. So do the work now. It makes sense.
Hi, I'm Jasmine Green. I just graduated in May, and I just took the July 2019 bar exam. One thing I would say is I definitely recommend starting on your bar binders now. I know that may seem like a big step ahead for you guys, but it was something I had to do during the spring semester that I wish I'd started sooner, just because the bar exam is so repetitive that it's better just to go and have your bar binders prepared now, so that when you get to May of your 3L year, you're not trying to get all that together. You already have it, and you'll feel more prepared in terms of taking the bar exam. The second thing is, I will hit on what she said, the work does not stop. I think you just get more accustomed to the level of work you've been doing. My 2L year, I was involved in a lot, and you're gonna realize that you're gonna really have to have good time management skills to do all of it. And if you're not, you're going to fail. I've seen people fail. They join journal, they join law review, moot court, trial ad, whatever it is, and then their grades drop because or internships because they're so involved in that they forget their grades. So another thing is just really time management. Be aware of what you can handle versus comparing yourself to somebody else.
Hello, I'm Whitney. I'm currently, I think I'm supposed to be vacationing until my job starts. I'll be clerking with Judge LaMelle in the Eastern District in New Orleans, Louisiana. My piece of advice, what I wish I knew 2L years, save your money. The bar exam portion is a very broke part of your life, being realistic, and most of our students don't actually qualify for the bar loans. So that's my biggest thing, is try to save your money when you're going through your 2L year. Don't wait until the last minute to pay for things that you have to pay for. I've seen some of my classmates set out from taking the bar because they didn't have the money. When they got a refund check, they should have paid the fees, and they didn't do that. My second piece of advice is to trust the process and trust and believe in yourself. I also have biggest piece of advice that was given to me when I went to do my 2L clerkship at one of the firms in New Orleans. I got my first assignment back, and it was trash, which was a hard pill for me to swallow, because I came from school like I'm at the top, so you're not gonna tell me my work is trash, and I took it personal. However, a mentor told me to take a step back, and how did I go through my 2L year to improve my writing? And I realized I didn't. I wrote for my exams, and I did, some practice bar exams, but as far as preparing myself for the legal field, I didn't do that. So if anybody needs them, I can send them to you on my phone, but there were 3 books that were recommended to me, and they pretty much made my summer. And it helped to make my summer when I was clerking at the firm, as well as when I was clerking at the Middle District during my 2L year. The first book is called Legal Writing in Plain English. And it's a text with exercises. I bought the second edition. It's by Brian Garner. The second book is The Cormedigan's Guide to Practicing Law, and it's by Mark Herman. What is it? Cormedians. Curmudgeons. Guide to Practicing Law, and it's by Mark Herman. And then the final book is The Elements of Style, and it's by William Strunk Jr. and E.B. White. And I bought all of those books off of Amazon. Some of them cost me a couple pennies. Just buy a used book. I waited until the 2L summer to go through it while I was working, so it did, require me to go long nights sometimes. But if you have them now, go ahead, buy the books, kind of skim through them, and I'm pretty sure they would have helped me during my 2L year as well.
I'm sending the books, names, and authors to you so you can get them.
We just got a call from campus police that if you park your car in the place that have masks next door, they're calling campus police. We ask you not to park there. All right, go ahead.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cameron Pontiff. I'm a 3L law student at Southern University Law Center. I'm happy to be here to speak to you today. I wish I had this opportunity at the beginning of 2L year, but luckily I had great professors that told me what to expect going into 2L year. First off, congratulations for making it this far. The fact that you're here means that you survived 1L year, which is an accomplishment in and of itself, so congratulations for that. As the rest of the panelists said, 2L year is not a cakewalk. You need to buckle up. You're going into something that requires a lot more of you than 1L year. 1L year was more so a learning curve. You learned how to come into law school and tackle it and understand what was required of you in order to be successful. And now that you have these rudimentary skills, you're able to actually learn the law like you're supposed to, which professors will then put more extensive readings on you. You have more opportunities to get into different organizations such as moot court, law review, journal, mock trial, and all that takes a lot of time away from your studies. So you have to come up with some type of balance when it comes to your extracurriculars and your academic studies. And with that, I found that 3 core principles really helped me get through 2L year and ultimately succeed in my 2L year. And the first one with that is time management. You need to understand that you'll never be complete with your work. Your work will never be done. You always have more and more work, and it just seems endless. But with that, you need to learn how to manage your time wisely. And that could be just coming up with a schedule, like they've told you at the beginning of the year. But this schedule has to be something that actually works for you. You got to figure out, when am I the most effective? Am I the most effective in the morning, during lunch, the afternoon, to where I could actually get my work done, comprehend the information, and then be able to do well on my exams afterwards. So with that, coming with that is you have to prioritize what's important to you. And that's either studying or your social life. And by this point, I would hope that it is your studying. And with that, you'll be able to ascertain what schedule works best for you. And the second principle I have is don't worry about what others are doing. That's a big thing that was hindering me at first. You're always trying to compare yourself to what your fellow classmates are doing, where they're at in their readings, where they're at in their outlines, etc. But you're never going to be able to compare yourself to your classmates because you learn differently. And that's kind of what 1L year taught me. To be honest, I wasn't the best student coming out of undergrad. So going into 1L year, it was quite a cultural shock, but I knew that I wanted to do this and I wanted to succeed. So I had to figure out what works best for me. And by doing so, I was able to push out what others are doing and realize that only certain things work for me, and that's what helped me through my 2L year, mostly. So overall, you're in a competition with yourself and not with others. Just remember that. And the last thing you want to know is that ask for help. It's okay to ask for help. You know, you see seriousness of purpose everywhere, and with that, we have this familial culture here at Southern University Law Center that's a lot different than other law schools. You could talk to individuals at LSU, Loyola, Tulane, and it's more of this competitive atmosphere. People are trying to hold all their information to themselves and not help each other. But here at Southern University Law Center, we pride ourselves on the fact that we could lean on each other And with that, you should utilize those opportunities that you have. Speak to your fellow classmates and speak to your professors. Kindle those relationships that will last you for a lifetime. With me, it helped in forming a professional relationship with my professors. And with that, I was able to get a different dynamic than I would in class, and also with my fellow classmates. So overall, guys, I just want you to remember time management. Don't worry about what others are doing, and don't be afraid to ask for questions. And overall, you'll be able to do your best.
We're going to take some questions from you all. And I have a question for them, which is, what would you do differently if you had to start back over from the 2L year? Think about that for a second while I just go ahead and reiterate something that he said about the time management. If you all don't have one of those academic calendars with one of those big blocks, you need to get that as you are moving into your second year. Start taking control of your life. Okay, you are the manager, okay? Just like everything else that you manage, you have to manage your life. Go and get that calendar. I just gave you a date a minute ago. Everybody's calendar should have been opening up, saying September 6th, I know I have to be at Southern University Law Center with the LSBA at 11 o'clock for character and fitness. So you can open that calendar up and you can schedule your life as these things are coming. Also, relationships with professors. Do all of you all have at least one professor that you can call right now, or at least email and say, hey, I got this job coming up. Can you write a letter of recommendation? Can I put your name down as a reference? I've gotten emails. I don't even know who it was. I don't know who this person is. I mean, you should at least have somebody, they know your face, at least one person that knows your face, that you can say, well, this is a person, if I need an independent study, like the student that came to me and said, I need a professor to advise me on my independent study. Will you do that for me? Okay, I did that. You know, people call. I had the TAs that I have, 2 of them. Well, he's one of my TAs, okay? He texts me, hey, will you write do the recommendation to be a BSA for this year? You have to have those relationships. So when he said that, he's serious about that he established those relationships. You know, we just chatted in the office when he was a 1L, and we established that relationship. So now he can call me and ask me to do those things. She did the same, okay? Ms. Payne, my other, she's gonna be one of my BSAs this year. She was able to call, text, hey, I need this. So you need to establish those relationships. So my question is, and then we'll take your questions, what would you do differently? Starting from I'm gonna start on that end. If you were starting back over from 2L year.
Well, if I was starting back over from 2L year, like a lot of the other panelists have said, time management is really important. When I was in law school, I did everything. I really did everything, and it burned me out. I will be honest with you. I was on law review, moot court. I was a teaching assistant. I was on American Ends of Court, all of those things, and that's great. But at the same time, it takes a toll on you. So I would say narrow down those things that you're really, really interested in instead of, again, you want to have great things on your resume. Law review, moot court are great for me. But at the same time, if you can't really put that time in and really, have a really good experience, when you get interviewed and people ask you things, it's like, oh, okay, well, I did this, I did this, I did this. So I would say really narrow it down to those things that you're really, really interested in. Forge those relationships with professors. I do wish I would have spoken to more professors with practice areas that I was interested in, such as successions or family law or that. Because now that I'm in the practice and I am interested in things like that, I didn't forge those relationships. I do have them with Professor Gray, Professor Lestache, and others. And also, I would enjoy the process. I was somebody who worked very, very hard, and just remember that the people that you're sitting beside, they are your classmates. Y'all, really, it shouldn't be competitive because you're gonna be colleagues one day. You're gonna possibly before these people might be co-counsel. You might get cases that you can't take and you need to call someone and say, hey, can you take this? So please understand that I know law school is very competitive, but these are your colleagues, and I can say maybe a week or 2 ago, I had questions about something and I could call some of my friends I was in law school with and say, hey, what do you know about this? Or hey, what do you know about that? So just remember that, enjoy the process.
I have to echo exactly what she said in the beginning. It's just narrow down the things that are important to you the most, because you will get burnt out. That happened to me my first semester 2L year. I was a research assistant. I was on trial advocacy board. I was on journal. I was on internship. On top of that, preparing for a national trial competition in Chicago. So my fall semester really burnt me out. So my spring semester, I was just like, something has to go. So what I will say is to just really narrow down what's important to you. I would say choose about 2 good things and run with it, because a jack of all trades masters nothing. So you want to put forth the time and what's important to you so that you can master it, and that when you put it on your resume, you're not kind of just lying about it. You really can show forth the skill when somebody calls you out on it. And secondly, what I would say is, like she said, enjoy the process, because I was so burnt out that I wasn't spending time with family. I wasn't spending time with friends. They was like, Jazz, you always doing something, and you have to really, you are more than a law student. You know, I had to remember that I am a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a niece, I'm an aunt, you know, and so I do treasure my family. We're very close. And so I realized that I wasn't feeling myself because I wasn't pouring into those relationships that I valued in my life. So what I will say is, remember that you are so much more than a law student. Your life does continue on past law school, and so you don't want to burn bridges because you're so focused here. It doesn't mean you shouldn't be focused, but you know, there is a balancing scale. What else I would say is I started using a planner 2L year, and it saved my life. So the schedule thing may not work for you, because I tried the schedule thing on Excel. It didn't work for me my 1L year, but a planner did, because I was able to have something concrete, and I opened it and I looked at it every single day, so I could say, okay, no, I need to be here. Okay, this assignment is due then. A planner saved my life. So if you guys don't have one, definitely get one. And lastly is the relationships with your professors. I've built some great relationships with my professors. Professor Gray is one of them. Professor Bell is one of them. I've had several professors reach out to me this summer with job offers. So what I will say is that these people are great resources. I love my professors, and make sure they know your face, because you don't want to reach out to somebody who barely know your name, especially if you didn't do good in their class, because they can recall and look up your grades and say, oh, hey, can you do this for me? Because the answer is probably going to be no if you get a response back at all.
A good planner is plum paper. You can build your own planner and do it the way that you like. What I would do differently, 2L year for one would be to foster more relationships with my professors. I didn't start building strong bonds until my 3L year. Thank God they paid off, because I was able to call Professor Reed at 11 o'clock at night during bar prep. But one thing that I did miss out on during my 2L summer, one of my other really good friends, she get assignments, and she was able to call the professor. She actually called Professor Gray. And she did extremely well on her assignment. But I didn't form really strong relationships with my professors during 2L years, so I didn't have that to fall back on. I had to lean on my mentor, when I also could have leaned on my mentor, but also a professor as well for some encouragement. That's one thing that I wish I would have done 2L year. The other thing is just kind of echoing what Jasmine said. Prepare your family and don't forget about them. 2L year hit me because I lost my brother. And that was big, because I remember missing out on, it would have taken me 20 minutes to go to the Thanksgiving table and eat. But I decided to eat in my room. So while you also have to make sacrifices, you also need to kind of do some weighing and balancing on what's important to you, because at the end of this, you still have your family. When law school fades away, that's what you have. So like she said, remember that you are a whole person, and this is 3 years. It fades away after 3 years. So just remember that and build strong bonds with your classmates, because during that time, it was my classmates that got me through. I turned around and went out for moot court the next week, but it was my classmates that pushed me to say, come on, you got this. If you need a little help here, I'll do it, or whatever. So just remember that to inform really strong relationships with your classmates as well.
The one thing I wish I learned at the beginning of my 2L year was to swallow my pride, because we all believe that we're God's gift to the law, but the fact of the matter is we're not. So utilize the resources here at Southern University Law Center. If you have problems with your writing and you find that you need help, but you're too prideful to go and seek that help, you're just going to hurt yourself in the end. For example, it took me forever to go to career services just to have them look over my resume, and after that, I was able to actually get some job offers. So just little things like that actually will go a long way at the end of the day. So just make sure that you know you're not too big to go and ask for help. That's the main thing. If you ask for help, you're going to get through this process.
want to go ahead and bring Kennedy in on just bringing in the bar stuff in this conversation, and then we're going to continue on, but just sort of bringing this in as well in terms of prep courses.
Okay, let me just start. Okay, I'm Kennedy Lejeune. I'm a 3L here. I am the Barbary head rep on campus, and I'm also the current ABA rep. So I have a lot of information for you. There are 4 main bar prep courses. There's a lot of bar prep courses, but there's 4 main competitive ones. It's Kaplan, Quimby, Themis, and Barbary. I have some information. I thought we were gonna have access to a computer, but give me 1 second. All right, so Themis, you have. Do you want me to go ahead and do it?
I'll set it up for you since you have a
Okay.
presentation. Let them continue to it, because I'll be able to.
JK, I will be back.
Okay.
Y'all have any questions?
Questions from you all?
I guess this question would be more tailored specifically to Ms. Stevens, since you are practicing. How easy or difficult was that transition from student life to professional life? Like, is there some hand-holding, like, you don't know exactly what to file some or what to file, the beginning process, like, what is that like?
Yes, there's definitely some hand holding. I know if you clerk now and things like that, you might go file stuff like at the 19th, and people are pretty friendly. Judges are definitely friendly. But again, I clerk at the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, so for me, my experience from law school to practicing has been very chill. Again, the Second Circuit, there are 9 judges, and they all, have a set number of cases per month. So to be honest, I came from studying and just nonstop days, 12 to 14-hour days to 8:30 to 4:30. I mean, honestly, it was a blessing. I really was like, thank you, Jesus, because I earned this. So honestly, for me, it was a great transition. I do have friends, however, that are ADAs, that are public defenders, that are, that have hung their own shingle and things like that. And their stories are different. They are working very hard. They are staying at the office late. They are doing the grunt work, especially my friends that are at firms. Definitely are going in on the weekends. So that is something to consider. But with clerkships, you also have to remember, you're clerking, I can't practice outside and take cases outside of what my judge does. So there is that work-life balance. For me, I chose to have more rest because I deserve it than to be out here practicing. No, really, I needed it. No. Okay, y'all weren't here when I was here, but I was definitely Professor Gray's student and I worked very hard. She can tell you. So again, consider that with clerkships, consider that with firms, consider that when you're taking jobs. Also, it always looks good to clerk, but also remember to get out there. I mean, truly, and you will see all kinds of cases that you're interested in. For me, clerking has been very beneficial because I had no idea what I wanted to do. I knew I didn't want to do criminal law. I just knew that was not it for me. And I was unsure about civil litigation. And so clerking, I'm able to see the whole thing. I see the whole record. I read all the transcripts. I can kind of see the pros and the cons. I can see, okay, family law gets real sticky some days. So for me, it's beneficial to clerk, but it really just depends on you. I would definitely say to explore all opportunities in law school. Paid, unpaid, explore them, shadow people, be hungry, do it, because it really will pay off.
Oh, do you? Okay. We have a question? Yes.
I was just curious as far as the bar binders were concerned, like how many years did you go back to review bars to look at recurring issues? Anyone can answer.
I did 6 years.
Excuse me.
And I will say, kind of echoing what Professor Reed said, do your bar binders while you're in school and just make sure they're right. Because if you throw them together just to get the grade for stat analysis, they're going to be trash for the bar exam, so you can't actually use them. I found my bar binders to be extremely useful because that's why I actually worked my exams for them versus working. Barbara gives you this big, thick book. I used it for the answers, but not necessarily to work the exams in them because it's not a lot of room to write in the margins. And if you ever look at a bar exam, you'll know what I'm talking about. And it puts you into practice for the bar exam because you don't get scratch paper. You get your bar exam. I took my bar exam apart. I took the staple out as soon as they gave it to me. I asked to make sure I wasn't gonna get in trouble because I didn't want to get kicked out. But they did say that it was fine. So I took my staple out as soon as I got my bar exam, and working them in my bar binder that way helped prepare me for the actual exam. But I did, to answer your question, I went back 10 years.
I have a question. We have a lawyer. Okay. I mean, I know. I'm laughing. I have to laugh because she was an outstanding student, but I am not a professor who goes back looking at when the bar results come out to see who passed, and everybody doesn't take it at the right time. We have two who just took the bar exam. He's going to be taking it next year. When you sat down for that bar exam, did you feel like you were ready? I mean, I know there's one feeling that you have when you sit there, and then there's a different feeling that you have like after it's over. And there's a whole different feeling when you graduate. You're thinking, okay, I don't know where I am. But as you prepare, because I know that, I felt like I knew that I was going to be able to handle it. I felt like I know I can do it. I just got to do the same thing I've been doing. But on that day, you take it, but you still don't know. You're really happy when you see those results because you don't know how they feel about what you just wrote. So did you feel that you were ready when you finished school, and then when you sat down to take it, did you feel like, okay, I know I just nailed that?
Yeah, it's funny because I actually, the class of 19 that just took the bar exam, I had a couple people that reached out to me, were like, hey, Stephanie, can you help? And so absolutely, it is very nerve-wracking. That is one of the hard parts about the bar exam is knowing, okay, the work I did at Southern, the way I wrote at Southern, all the stuff that got me my A's, got me my JD, I'm here and I'm ready, is that good enough? Absolutely. I spent a lot of time just calming people down, saying you're more than enough. You can get your bar scores. I got mine because I'm a type A type of person, and I did very well in law school, and I just wanted to compare it. And to be honest, I really lowballed myself the entire time during bar prep because if you really start working out the math, and I promise you're going to need at least a 72 point. There you go. You need a 72.5. You're going to start playing with that calculator on lsacb.org. Like, I can remember it like it was yesterday. I promise y'all, October 4th, 2018 was the hardest day. I paced my apartment all night long. I lived in Shreveport, just to take a job. Didn't know anybody, stressing about the bar exam. Got the results. Actually, all my people got my results before me. And when I got my scores back, my scores were very high. I thought like, I passed it. I at least got a 70-something. No. Okay. I can't remember. I know I got 3 90s. I made a 96 on Fed J. A 96. Like, I was shocked. I made a 91 on maybe business entities. I know I made an 88 on Code 2 and a 92 on civil procedure. Okay, I studied for the bar within those 10 weeks. But like the panelists have said, I knew myself in law school very well. I was not a great student coming in to law school at all. I graduated, thank you, Lord. I enjoyed my life at undergrad. So I really just wanted to be here. I'm a first-generation attorney on both sides of my family. No one knows what it looks like to go to law school. My family said, throw your hat in the ring, see what happens, honestly, because they knew me. And so when I got here, I did all right my first semester, but I didn't kill it the way I wanted to. And I knew I can't put forth more effort. There's only 24 hours in a day, but I knew that, okay, I can switch up what I'm doing. And so for that worked for me. And I took that to the bar with me. I listened to what people had to say about the bar. I understood what they had to say about the bar, but I knew myself, and I did that all 10 weeks. And so I would say, if you put in the work during law school, meaning you brief the cases when you don't want to, right? You participate in the discussions when it's not fun. I completely didn't study the exclusionary rule, but I took Professor Gray, who don't play. So I had something to say about the exclusionary rule again. So if you put the work in, you will be fine, and your scores really will reflect that. If anything, Southern goes harder on us. I remember telling somebody, look, you really earn them Callies at Southern, but the bar really does show love. I didn't fail any parts of the bar. I will also say I did not finish the torts portion of the bar. Did not finish. Didn't know if I put the multiple choice up there, I'm gonna be very transparent. Was scared, terrified, day 2, wanted to quit, truly, and my dad was like, nope, we pay for that. So had to go back, He said, we paid $650. He said, oh yeah, you're gonna put forth your best effort. We gonna do this. And so, yeah, didn't even fail that portion of the bar. So I say that to say your professors are going hard on you. It's rough. I know. I made it through. You are more than enough. You are more than prepared for the bar. Your writing is more than good enough. You just need to trust the process, do the work, and believe in yourself, and get the bar roll number, period.
Speak to me about how to motivate yourself to grind through this process.
Okay, encourage yourself. Yes, I definitely understand. I see the looks on your faces because I definitely had them on mine, dragging that rolling bag, all them books, all these study sessions, got to be here for this. Couldn't stand it. I remember they started academic assistance, and we had to do it after classes, after you've been in class all day. And I did it, honestly. I have no choice. I was an out-of-state student. I'm from Alabama. I didn't know a soul moving to Louisiana, I promise you. I have no choice. It was like, you either gonna get it or you ain't gonna get it. And again, I'm a first generation, so my parents was like, you just gotta, come on, baby, do it. And I did. And so I would say for me, it was my family that really motivated me, because I knew that this was something that I wanted. Again, I didn't do hot my first semester of law school, not as hot as I wanted to. And I told myself, okay, we can't give more energy. There's only 24 hours in a day, but we can switch up what we're doing. And I stayed consistent. I knew myself. I knew that foolishness that people say, oh, study after Fall Fest, that's a lie. But don't play yourself. I stopped listening to what other people were doing, and I started preparing earlier, because that's not something people will tell you. Okay, you might need 3 weeks instead of 2. That's something you got to figure out for yourself. And I figured it out quickly because I wanted to do well, and I never made, I think my first semester of law school, I made 2 C's. I made 2 C's. I never made lower than an A- again. I graduated number 2 in my class. Again, and I'm not saying that to say like, oh, I'm saying it to say it's possible from somebody from undergrad who graduated, thank you, Lordy, didn't have a great LSAT score, didn't know a soul here. Like, it's definitely doable, possible, I promise.
Going down to Jasmine, but just to say that there is the strongest correlation between bar passage and undergraduate GPA only because of work ethic. Now, if you didn't have it in undergrad, you can have your work ethic can come later on in law school at some other point. But it is going to be about how hard you are willing to work. That's what it takes. And also, you all know we are not working magic here. So there is no way that we can just put it in your head, if you're not doing the work. But the only thing I would add to what they were telling you all earlier about what you can do in second year to prepare for the bar exam, and in addition to all the other things, or if you do nothing else, prepare for your classes now that you're taking, just like she told you about all of those first year courses. Study for those classes that you're in. Prepare, read, do the work. So go home tonight when you're preparing for class tomorrow. That's bar prep. That's bar prep. And how I know how much of bar prep that was, when I finished law school, I took the DC bar exam first that summer. I passed that. I took the Louisiana bar exam in February and passed that. 4 years later, I came here to start teaching, and I opened up all my old outlines, and those Louisiana words looked like it was some type of other language, like Chinese. All that stuff was gone. Because you are learning now. When you're studying in your classes, you're actually learning stuff that you will remember some of it when you take the bar exam, if you learn it now. But if you're just skimming over and you're getting a C or D, then you don't know it. I would say even a B is probably a failure on the bar. A B in law school is probably a fail because you're going against people in the whole state. And so we're curving off whoever may have been the highest, but you got to do better than that on the bar exam. A C in law school is that's not the same C as the bar.
Preparing for the bar exam, honestly, was one of the toughest things I've ever had to do. But I think you have to have the mindset of, like she said, I paid for this, I'm taking it once, and that's it. That was my mindset. And you have to want it bad enough, because I've been wanting to be an attorney since I was 9. It's the only thing I've ever wanted to do. And so preparing for the bar exam, I had to keep that in the forefront of my mind. So disciplining myself to sit down 8 to 10 hours a day, studying every single day for the bar exam was tough at first, but eventually I got into a rhythm and it just became easy. I did Barbary. I think you did Barbary too. Barbary, I recommend Barbary. It was amazing. I think you have to know what works for you, because sometimes the videos work for me. Sometimes just reading the outlines work for me. Because the Fed J video, she pulled out that stuffed animal, I was gone. I was like, I'm just gonna read the outline. So you have to know what works for you. But when I sat down to take the bar exam, code 1, I'll never forget, 8:30, the room was freezing cold, and I was all the way in the back, and I felt prepared for that exam. Because I had did Barbary, I repeatedly took code 1 exams, and I knew every single issue on the exam. One thing I will say is that I had to switch my method, because usually I would do the writing first, then the multiple choice. And I was talking to one of my study partners, and she was like, I think I'm gonna do the multiple choice first. So I literally that morning, last minute, I switched to doing multiple choice. And I think that was one of the best decisions I ever did, because it allowed me to better manage the time for the essays I had. So if I took like 15 minutes for multiple choice, I'm like, okay, I got an hour, 45 minutes left to divide between my essays. So it was better for time management for me, but I felt very confident after taking it. And even code 2 threw a big curveball for some people, because they had the first question was affiliation question, which they had never really done that before. It usually was in test state. And then part B of question 2, they had a 24-point trust question, which nobody had really studied trust. I'm so glad my study partner, she was like, let's go over it the night before. That was the biggest blessing, because I knew all of that trust. We didn't go over it in class. I don't know about Joyce's sessions class, but we did not go over trust in class. So a whole bunch of people were feeling defeated after that exam. But I felt prepared. So I will say it's up to you to take it into your own hands. Just because other people aren't studying it, you study it. Same thing happened to BE. They had a big voting proxy question, and they had inspecting the business records. People were not prepared for it, because they were like, oh, I haven't seen it before. Study everything. You don't know what they're gonna throw at you. Make sure that you're prepared. If your study partner isn't doing it, you do it, because it's your future. You have to take control of it. So I feel prepared. I feel very confident. I walked out of there Friday at 4:30, jumping up and down. Like, I don't know if you were there. They were laughing at me, but I was so happy, because I know without a shadow of a doubt, and I can say this in a room full of people, that I passed that bar exam because I felt prepared. So that's one thing I would say.
She talks really fast, so I hope you caught what she said. On this one little point, though, you know, they give you, for the Louisiana State Bar exam, they give you every topic that could be tested on each part. And so any of that is fair game. So you can look at those old exams and say, well, these are gonna be the issues that are most likely gonna be tested. But make sure you look at all those other little topics that they don't test all the time, but they might test, so that you can at least be somewhat prepared for that. You gotta look at everything. And then, of course, you wanna really focus in on the stuff that they're most likely to test.
As far as how I felt going in, so I had a different feeling for every day. My first day, code 1, code 2, and code 3, like, those were my heavy hitters. Like, I had put in so much work. So I felt perfectly fine going into day 1. Jasmine said it was cold. I was sweating bullets. So maybe I was a little bit more nervous than I thought I was on day 1. But day 1, I felt I was perfect. I went home, I took about an hour to nap, got up, let's hit day 2, let's get to it. Day 2 threw me a little curveball with the business entities, but I was prepared for it. Back to the trust question of day 2, day 1, code 2. Everybody was freaked out. I was prepared because it was I believe, July 2014 question. It was the exact question. So if you did what you were supposed to do, you weren't thrown off. They don't test it often, but they tested it. What I made a practice of is taking questions that they didn't test often, that were big questions, and I stuck them to my wall. My apartment looked like an office. It looked a mess. But I was perfectly fine with it. I was prepared for it because it was something that they had asked before. They threw the curveball with the business entities. We knew that they changed the exam because they added mandate. So this is only the second time that they were testing it with this mandate. However, mandate wasn't even on the test. But I was prepared when I was in school, and honestly, one of the proxy questions, I remembered the answer to it because I took Professor Thurman, and I remember he talked about it, and he talked about it in detail. I don't know how I was able to pull that out of my brain. I didn't look over it during the entire bar prep process. I don't know where it came from. I couldn't look at my study partner because he was behind me, but when we got outside and we gave each other eyes, he was like, "You remember Thurman said such and such?" I was like, "Okay, we on the right track, we good." So I felt fine day 2. However, day 2, I don't know what came over my soul. I was so tired I couldn't study the night, Wednesday night, and my body needed rest. So I had to sleep the entire time. From the time we got out of the exam, I ate. I slept that entire night, and I got up Thursday to do it again. Now, what Professor Reed got up here and told y'all my business, however, I didn't feel as comfortable day 3. Day 3, I went in knowing I was prepared, but the exhaustion, and you have to trust that you've done everything you're supposed to do before the bar exam, because that studying that day, that Thursday before Friday's exam, I was exhausted. I was reading stuff, but I wasn't retaining it. I was going over it. I mean, it was coming out of my mouth, but I don't know what I was saying. So I was just mentally and physically exhausted, and I had to force myself to study that Thursday. But Friday, I got up, I was a little shaky. Like she said, civil procedure is a lot. Don't try to wait until the last minute to do it. And I didn't wait until the last minute, but I just was a little uncomfortable, and I'm so used to feeling like I knew everything going into my finals here at school. There was nothing that I didn't know that my professor didn't touch that semester, and even things that they didn't touch that I made sure I knew going into the exam, because you weren't gonna get me. I wasn't able to take that feeling in every day on the bar exam. Con law was first on day 3. Lord, I don't know what was going on with question 2, but it shook my spirit, and I had to go out and get myself together after that exam. However, I brought that nervousness and that anxiety into criminal law. The entire bar exam, and like Jasmine, I changed my process. I worked my multiple choice questions first, and then I went to my essay questions because it allowed me to know what time I had allotted. I did that for crim law. I worked my multiple choice questions first. However, 9 times out of 10, I did not put the answers into the exam for feeder. And I know I didn't. I'm praying that I did, but I know I didn't. However, I don't feel uncomfortable with it, because even without the multiple choice, I'm like, okay, there's 20 points. That crim law portion of the exam was verbatim from previous years. So I have the rest of my 80 points. So yeah, I got an 80 on crim law, but whatever. I'll take it and I'll roll with it. So I said that to say that did shake me up, so I didn't feel as comfortable with that. However, I had lunch at that time. My study partner was like, "Girl, if you don't get yourself together, like, we're not about to do this. You already had your 650 anyway. You just getting extra points, so you just need to get it together." I called my mom. I was about to start crying, and then I was like, "What you crying for?" Like, this makes no sense. What are you crying for? Because you know you've done everything you're supposed to do. So I went back, got Fed J. Fed J was a cakewalk. It was so easy. It was exactly the old exams. And I walked out of there with a feeling of, like Jasmine, I know I passed it, but I will tell y'all this. I do think I have PTSD because the bar exam is over. And I wake up, the first couple nights, I woke up and I was like, "Oh Lord, no, what's the language for this? Like, what's the language for that?" And I had to realize, like, it's over. And sometimes I still do have dreams or whatever. So if people say they don't, they lying. But I'll probably be a little bit on edge up until October. But when I talked to Professor Reed after the exam, at this point, I'm waiting to see how high my score is, not so much that if I passed or not.
I really want you all to hear this information that Kennedy has for you all. This is really important on the different bar review courses because they've mentioned it as well about knowing yourself and how you study. I can study by myself. A lot of people say, well, they have to go to a bar review course because they're not going to do it. I took an at-home bar review course, the study group, which was brought out by Kaplan, and it was all at home. I was living in D.C. I didn't want to have to get on the train and all of that. I knew it was just going to take me all day long to get settled in each place. So I had my lectures at home. I listened to them and did all the work at home. They had the syllabus and everything. So he's going to tell you about the different bar review courses that you have and the options, so you can think about what's out there and what you need to do now to be able to get it ready for that time. And we'll just have the panel sit right here in case we have some more questions. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna try and make this fast because I know y'all ready to go. But again, I'm Kennedy Lejeune. I'm a 3L here, the ABA rep, also the head rep of Barbary on campus. So put together a slideshow for y'all. There are 4 different types of bar review courses. That the main ones: Themis, Kaplan, Quimby, and hello, Barbary. So there's no Louisiana bar review course for Themis, but Themis does do UBE, MBE. So if you're planning on taking it outside of Louisiana, they do have 45 jurisdictions. They're not all the states yet. It's $21.95 currently. I say that because it is every bar review course starts off at a low price every year, and then it goes up. So once you sign up for a bar review course, it usually locks in your price. So currently it's $21.95 for Themis. ABA, for SULC, everybody has 100% participation. So what that means is if you go on the ABA website right now, you create an account, you have a free account with the ABA. So you get discounts, things like that. You can go ahead and do that when you get home. But if you want to get the premium account, it's $25 a year. With that, you get extra discounts. One of these discounts is $100 off the course of Themis. You also get a $100 discount off, I think it's one or the other, if you're a PAD member, Phi Alpha Delta Law, or a military spouse JD network. They also have a public interest scholarship. Public interest scholarship is you don't necessarily have to have a job lined up in the public interest sector after law school, but you can go ahead and apply for it. It'll knock down your price to $13.95. What makes Themis different from other bar review courses is that they really pride themselves on 25 to 30-minute spurts of lectures, and then right after you'll do multiple choice or an essay. You're still doing it for 8 hours a day for 8 to 10 weeks, but they have kind of like a scientific methodology where like the adult attention span is like anywhere from 25 to 30 minutes. So they tend to do their lectures that way, whereas most bar review courses is like 2 and 3 hour lectures before you do multiple choice and essay. There's a personal study team, so you get 2 attorneys to grade your essays and provide study tips. You have personal communication with them throughout your entire bar course experience. They have unlimited grading, so you can submit as many graded essays as you want and get feedback. If you don't pass, you get a free repeat. Something you can do right now for law school materials is that there's free commercial outlines and lectures for 1Ls. Those are the subjects that are listed. And then you have the same thing for 2 and 3L. I personally have not tried to sign up for their free materials for 1, 2, and 3L. So if you go online and you try to sign up and they're like, oh, there's a catch-22, like, let me know so I can distribute that information. But if you just go on their website, it says you can sign up for free and get that information. There's also a free NPRE review course, so you get lectures, 200 practice questions, and outlines. Super helpful. Oh God, sorry, I'm new at this clicker thing. Okay, so Quimby. Quimby is relatively new. It actually came out within the last 2 or 3 years. So there are only 30 jurisdictions. So there's no LA course. I'm getting to the ones with Louisiana, y'all. But for these are for people who are taking it out of state. It's $14.99 currently. If you're an ABA premium member, it's $11.99. You get the Quimby Gold package, which I'm going to explain, for 3 years. Once you sign up, again, it locks in your price. You get personal essay feedback as well, lectures, outlines, practice bar exams, multiple choice. Quimby, what makes it different is like they're really big on like flashcards. I don't know if any of y'all have signed up for premium or have signed up for Quimby. You get those case briefs, you get those lectures on landmark cases. It's kind of like the same method when they do their bar review course. Fail bar exam, you get your money back and repeat allowed. Most bar exams, when they're saying you get your money back, you have to complete 85 to 90% of the course. So you have to be doing the work, you have to show that you really tried, and you still failed to get your money back for Quimby. If you want to take the multi-state bar exam course alone, it's $599, regular $499 ABA premium. There's no personal essay grader, and if you fail, you fail. You got to pay for it again. Law school materials. So the thing about Quimby is that none of their materials are free. If you sign up for ABA Premium, you get 3 free months of Quimby. So if you want to just try it out, pay $25, you get the whole year of discounts. You get 3 free months of Quimby. It really helped me because I signed up for it during criminal procedure, and I didn't understand some of those cases. You watch the lectures, really helps out. So you get $24 a month. For the gold, you get pretty much everything that would come in the bar review course, but it's for your classes specifically, and you get the MPRE course, which is pretty much like every MPRE course. You have the lectures, essays, multiple choice. Silver, you only get case briefs and lectures, and then bronze, you get just the case briefs. So Quimby is, if that's a way that you really like to study, you like having people, kind of explain it to you, you like the layout of Quimby, I would say go for it, but it's one of the more expensive ones because you have to pay for everything. Kaplan. All right. Kaplan has the cheapest bar review course for the material, I guess you could say. It's $12.99 currently for on-demand. So the difference between on-demand and live is you can pay the cheapest one, you get pre-recorded lectures the entire time. You never have to leave your house. If you pay $21.99, you get live. So it's on-site, live stream lectures. You're in a classroom. The professor's either talking to you or you're watching somebody from another location. It's actually like one or the other, so you kind of have to decide which way you prefer to study. Again, you get $100 off with ABA Premium membership. They also have a study team, so you get essay grading. You can email an attorney. Within 48 hours, they'll get back to you with the answer to your question. You get practice questions, lectures. Kaplan, there's additional supplements available for purchase, so flashcards, MBE questions, etc. That's like anywhere from $100 to $200, depending on like what supplement you want, but you get discounts if you're an ABA Premium member for that. Fail, money back. Again, 90% of the course, y'all. Law school materials, you get a free MPRE course. You can just go on their website and sign up. Outlines, lectures, flashcards, practice tests, and they also have a free 1L, 2L outline course. Same thing. And last but not least, you have Barbary. What makes Barbary different is that SULC actually has a contract with Barbary. So Barbary is the most expensive bar prep, but you get the most bang for your buck because SULC is paying. So you have $1,000 off, which makes the SULC specific price $13.95 the entire year. So you have from now till the end of your 2L year to decide if you want to sign up. You get live lectures and pre-recorded lectures, so you don't have to choose. If one day you're like, I just want to be in sweatpants and study for the bar, that's fine. But if you want to go to a location, they have Tulane and LSU. So like it alternates between weeks. So you go to LSU, you'll have a professor there talking to you in a classroom. On the weeks it's not at LSU, it's at Tulane, but you still go to LSU, you get the live feed from Tulane. There's essay grading as well. You get unlimited essay grading, but it's directed. So like whatever topic you're studying, you'll submit an essay for that rather than unlimited essay grading. Like Themis, for example, you could submit as many essays on any different topic that you want to. The thing with Barbary that's different from the other ones is that they actually have had attorneys who have taken the Louisiana bar exam for 20 years. They've taken the bar exam every year, and they have compiled what's repeated, like repeated issues, what types of things you'll see, and so they spend more time testing you on what's more than likely going to be on the test, and leaving those like less prominent ones for multiple choice and the occasional essay. It's an 8 to 10 week course like most bar exams. Barbary has an early start as well as Themis, where you get it like 4 months before the bar exam. You'll get like a couple of subjects, I think like torts and maybe like con law, if I'm correct. There's also a public interest scholarship for Barbary, which makes it the cheapest bar review course if you want to go into public interest because you go to Southern. It's $9.95. So if you even think you want to work for the public defender, apply. Like, reach out to me, we'd submit an application. You don't even have to get a job at the public defender when you graduate. You just have to want to go into public interest. If you fail the bar exam, again, you get a free repeat. Right now, you can do free MPRE review course, lectures, practice questions, outlines. Do not pay for shipping for the book, y'all. We have them in the library. I will give one to you. 2L 3-month materials included when you sign up for bar prep. So that's the only difference between Barbary and some of the others is that you can't just go up and sign. You can't just go and sign up for the individual materials. You have to purchase the bar review course. You don't have to pay the whole thing. You just have to pay the enrollment fee and the deposit up front. And you get the outlines, lectures, and practice questions for those subjects. And most of y'all have probably done the 1L Mastery Package. It's free again if you want to sign up because it kind of overlaps between 1L and 2L year. So like con law's in there. If some of y'all are part-times, maybe if you haven't taken Crim Law or Civ Pro, you can sign up for that.
In the church, they say words like wrap it up.
That's it. This is the last slide. I'm done.
Let's thank our guests, please. Okay, now, before you guys, you don't have, you see the home page.